Hello and welcome to Ticket to Life. And I am Henry and I am your host for this podcast. I would like to welcome all of my new listeners. And if you're not sure what Ticket to Life is about, it is about life, Life. So I don't have a topic on crafts or uh, killers or mystery or romance. I talk about anything and everything on this podcast, and it's just life because life deals us a hand sometimes, and sometimes it's a good hand, and sometimes it's a bad hand. So, and my podcast a few weeks ago was on resolutions and learning new things, picking up a new skill, doing something new for 2025, and I mean like monthly, not just for a day, not for, some people like to craft, they start crafting um or attempt to craft or paint or learn a new language. Well, I told my husband that we were going to learn to play cribbage. So if there are any cribbage listeners out there, it is a very fun game, and we watched some YouTube videos on cribbage, and it was fun. But it 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 takes it says the normal time to play cribbage is 40 minutes. Well, not for us. The first time it took us almost 3 hours. We did have to take a lunch break and watch more YouTube videos on it. But it is a fun game, but there's a lot to learn, and um it's scoring, it's good with math and stuff. So I don't know, it probably sounds like an old folks game. I don't know. But I know my mother-in-law used to play it all the time with her friend Miriam. So I thought, well, why not? So anyway, it's fun. So if you've never played it or want to learn something new, that's of course after after we played it for like 2 days. Uh, we had bought just a very inexpensive one. We decided to splurge, and my husband bought this really pretty one on Amazon. Very nice cribbage set with metal little pegs. But anyway, it's fun. So, anyway, back to this podcast. Thank you for listening. And I am on the radio in Metro Atlanta, Georgia on WDJY 99.1 FM radio every Thursday morning at 7 a.m. So if you are listening to this podcast and you're driving to work, I hope you have a great day. Be safe. And also, you can listen to this podcast on any major podcast platform. I'm on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube, you name it. I'm pretty much out there. Not YouTube radio, YouTube audio. That was iHeartRadio. Anyway, so I'm what I just wanted to let you know I'm out there. And I do need to give you a disclaimer that I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a love guru. I am not a life coach. I'm Henry. And these are all my opinions. So just putting that out there. So if something happens in your relationship, because today we are going to be talking about relationships 101. They really should offer a class on relationships in school and in college. I know that sounds crazy, but I think a lot of us have a lot to learn on relationships. I mean, even still now, my husband and I, after 41 years, we still work on ours. So, again, January is coming near an end already. I always say that January is the forgotten month because November, Thanksgiving, the holidays are going, and all of a sudden, everything is just rushed. you know. So do something good for yourself this January. I don't know. Go buy yourself something. Go buy you a cribbage board. Uh, so relationships, we all have them. We've all been in one. And when I say relationships, I just don't mean a a intimate relationship, a marriage relationship. I mean, there's so many relationship types out there. Now, how many of you, as the month of January, it will be the forgotten month, cannot forget a certain relationship? No matter how hard you try, you just can't get over it. It happened, it's gone. And like the song from Frozen, let it go. Let it go. You know that song. Just let it go. And I know that's easier said than done, right? Now, I, for myself, I had to move on after a yucky first marriage, but of course, that was 41 years ago. I would be in deep trouble if I would not have been able to let it go. I have to say, we do need to live in the now, not in the past. Why? Because there's nothing you can do about it. Anything that's happened in the past, it's over, it's done with. There's no do overs. And it's time for some of us who cannot let go to start living our life again. And why? Because you deserve it. You deserve a good life and you deserve to be happy. Everyone does. Even if you were told differently, you deserve happiness. Why? Because you are worthy of a good relationship. A good relationship with yourself, also. We've got to like ourselves before we can like anyone else. Now, before, again, we can't live in the past. We just can't. We have to live in the now. And it's hard to put things behind us sometimes. It just is. But we need to move forward. I mean, if you need to find counseling, a therapist, then go for it. Of course, you know, my 24/7 guide, Jesus, is always listening, and he is a great therapist. He just listens. Doesn't tell me what I've done wrong because I have a brain of my own and I know what I've done wrong. But it's a good thing if you sometimes just talk to someone about what happened because you do have to let it go. Now, relationships are so hard, and there's so many different types of relationships. We can have the type that is, again, different. There's just different. Okay, there's one that I'd never heard of before. It's called the micro connection because that's what a relationship is. It is the connection between you and another human being or a little pet. Um, but in a micro connection is just nodding your head at your neighbor. Hey, good morning. Or as my husband always says to the neighbors, and they are all pretty much younger than us, he's always going, "Heidi ho, neighbor." Well, is saying, having a connection with your barista for the delicious coffee you just got. Now, in my opinion, one of the best relationships that anyone could possibly have is with a pet. Why? Unconditional love. They will love you no matter what you look like, no matter how you feel that day. They will love you. So, unfortunately, I have 2 fish now. Not sure if they love me, but I hope they do because I love them. But anyway, I think that there are different types again of love, and one of the main important one, and I mean family first before the pets, but family is such an important relationship to have. Of course, there's always the romantic relationship, the platonic relationship, the professional work relationship, or the intimate friends with benefits. Now, some people have distant relationships. I can't imagine how that works out. I think that would be really hard. But when you are in love, I guess that's what you do. You work on it. It's work. It's work to have a good relationship. And that's what keeps it going is people working on it. It's not like you're going to get 2 weeks vacation because you worked on it or insurance. You have to work on a relationship if you want it. Now, how about, again, that self-connection that you have with yourself, knowing that you are worthy. Again, you are so worthy. I cannot tell you how many people don't think they're worthy, that they are not worthy and they're not in a good place with any type of relationship because they were told they weren't worthy. So you will hear this a lot in my podcast. I want people to know that you are worth so much. No, I don't know you, but I feel as though I do. Why? Because we all have one thing in common, and that's life. We have all lived through different situations. Again, I like to say no one is alone in any life situation. There is someone out there, someone somewhere in this world going through the same thing you are possibly going to. You are not alone. Now, unfortunately, some of us were raised in a family that mom and dad just didn't like each other. Every Friday night, if not every night, it was like going to a boxing match. Now, it did not have to be a physical type of relationship, it could have been a verbal abusive relationship. And in this corner, we have Wayne at 145 pounds, mom. And in this corner, we have Wayne at 210, dad. And yet, that's all you knew. That's all you knew about your parents' relationship. They were loving towards you, but they just did not like each other. Now, that doesn't make very good role model parents in a relationship for your kids to look into the future. Some kids think that's just the way it's supposed to be. Why? Because that's all they saw. And some people go on with life just knowing that's how life is. But guess what? It doesn't have to be that way, and it shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't accept those type of relationships. Now, my husband and I were talking just about relationships. This is where this led to. Again, they should have a course in relationships. We're fine after 41 years. We still like each other. But the funny thing, because that has gotten us through is communication. We talk a lot. Now, I will tell you, at first we did not. It was like pulling teeth for my husband to tell me what I did wrong or what I said. He would just get quiet. And what type of relationship is that for kids to see that they're looking for? And that should be honest. Honestly, we should be able to be honest with our significant other. And you need to talk to your kids about this, not just talk of sex about them and let them know what they should and should not be doing, but be part of what is important for the parent to share. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling here, but it is important for the parent to share with their child what is a good relationship. And the kid may come back and say, but look at you and dad. And that's going to hurt. If your kid says that, that's going to hurt. Yes, my husband and I argued. We would always take it to the other room. Did we yell? I don't think so. Maybe we did. I'll have to ask my kids. Did you ever hear your father and I yelling? I don't think we ever yelled. And if we did, we made sure they weren't in earshot, I guess. But some of us think that it is okay to get a slap on the face or get pushed against a wall and getting in someone's face. Either the man or the woman, or to your kids. It's not okay. So, guess it's just that I'm trying to get through to people that it's not okay to be in those kind of relationships. Many people think that they can change and help a person get better and change their personality. Now, I'm not saying that that a person cannot change. But remember, that person has got to want to change. As much as we love someone, even if they are abusive, verbally, mentally, psychologically, messing with your head, always not a good thing. No one should do that. There should not be a dominant person in the relationship. There just shouldn't. And unfortunately, some of us think that's the way things just are. Now, speaking of change, people actually can change. Again, they have to want to change. I did learn a new word and meaning in 2024. It is neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity. So what this is, it's your brain. It has the ability to change and adapt the way things function. So, like someone who is finally decides, oh, I need to eat right. I'll use that as an example. They change their habits on their own. Not just because a doctor said, oh my God, you're obese, you need to lose weight because you're going to die. And not by getting on a drug, but they're doing it on their own. So it is possible. I don't know enough about it, but it is interesting to me because back in the day they said, oh, no, people cannot change their ways. You can't teach a dog new tricks. Well, apparently you can. And yes, I know you can teach a dog new tricks. But I'm not trying to compare humans with dogs. I'm just saying a lot of people use that. But anyway, I found that interesting that it is possible for people to change. And it may take some time. But again, it has to be up to the individual, because that's a major change. When you knew nothing better but to be that kind of person, not a nice person. And we can raise our kids as best as we can, but guess what? They are eventually going to grow up and not be the same kid that lived in the house. They may be better, they could be worse. You just hope that you have that they saw a good family unit, good family values in their home, and it just goes with them. Because people change, unfortunately, for the worse sometimes, and I'm not sure why. But so it's so important for us to talk to our kids about relationships. And no, this is not just for the girls. This is for the boys too, or a young man or a young woman. It is important for them to know that they must have mutual respect for each other, have healthy boundaries, and make sure that that person that they're thinking about dating or seeing or having their first encounter with, sexual encounter, and that this person is attempting to be in the relationship is willing to do the same with them. Be kind, respectful, and yes, have boundaries. But most importantly, keyword communication. Communication is the key to success in a relationship, and this is my opinion again. Most men that I have known, not all men, not all men, and I've known a lot of men. No, just kidding. Well, maybe. That is why things didn't work out for us, because there was lack of communication. Unfortunately for them, obviously to you, my listeners, I like to talk and I speak my mind. So that did not work out for me and them. And that's good for me. It worked out in the end because I'm very happy. Not good to. It's just not good to keep everything locked up inside. It's good to express your feelings, and if you don't like something, you have to let that other human being know that you don't like what they do. And you're not asking them to change. You're just telling them, hey, I'm just giving you a heads up. I'm not sure I like the way you do this. So I'm not sure if this is going to work out. And you should be able to talk to family and friends and people you work with, but do it respectfully. To have a good relationship, you have to have good communication. Most people think that relationships have to be all about the intimacy, but it's not. You don't have to be intimate with Bill that works in the file room or in the copy room. Do they still have those things in buildings and offices? I don't know. I'm assuming they do. It's been a while, people, since I've been in the workplace. Uh, but just a social relationship and being social is hard for some. Social relationships can lead to better things. My husband and I were best friends before we married. I was married and he was married, and we like to tell people we had an intimate relationship, and that's why the marriages broke up, but that's not what happened. His wife left him, and my husband left me. They not together. They didn't know each other, but he decided he wanted to start dating and seeing other women, and she was just a fun girl. I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, so it was good. It was a great thing for us, but at the time we didn't think it was. But us being friends before we got married, we told each other everything. We'd go out and meet for happy hour, or we'd go to the movies. We were just friends. I think I told him everything, and sometimes I hope he doesn't remember what I told him. Hopefully he doesn't. But now, teen boys and girls, again, young men, young women, they need to know about the good and the bad and the ugly about relationships ahead of time. And I'm going to give you two stories, and hopefully I have plenty of time to do this because I am running the clock here. But the two examples are, this can go with adult relationships also. So just not teens, but this is a good story that you could share. Now, there's this guy, we're going to call him Theo, and he is a happy go lucky guy, goes to college, falls in love, and they get married. And Teresa is the wife's name. And FYI, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. Um, but anyway, they're just not communicating. So Theo does an oops. He has an affair. Now, Teresa is so caught up being a full time mom, working from the house and taking care of the house, and she forgot about Theo. Now, that did not give him the permission to go and have a little fling. But unfortunately, it ruined everything with their relationship and their marriage. Why? Teresa could not forgive him with all of that hard work of 5 years, having 3 kids. Now, this is just my opinion again. I believe it's the fault of both of them to a certain degree. Why? She got so caught up in her own world of being a full time mom, working, taking care of things. And Theo felt left out. Wah, I know. But because of this, he thought, well, I'll just have a fling and I'll be happy with it. And unfortunately, his big mistake was not digging deeper into seeing what he could have done to help Teresa. Where were her needs? What were her needs? Why didn't he go and talk to her about this? Why did she not see this? Now, unfortunately, the marriage ended up in divorce. And unfortunately, what he did was definitely wrong. He should, I know, I'm going to blame him, but he should have gone and talked to her. Again, men, go talk to your wives. Women, talk to your husbands or talk to your significant others, whatever the relationship is. I felt so bad for Teresa. She was doing everything she possibly could, but she forgot about Theo. And Theo was heartless and forgot about her. Selfish. That's what he was. Sorry, Theo, but you know it's true. Because you said no matter what, you loved Teresa. It was just one time. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm buying the one time. But anyway, some of you may not agree with me, but they were both in the wrong. But I think the lack of it was because of communication. Neither one of them told the other what was going on, how they were feeling. They got caught up. Theo being self centered and only thinking of himself while she had to think of other things. So I can point fingers at either one, but he screwed up. Face it. Theo, you screwed up. Now, of course, the roles could have been reversed, but in this story, he messed up. And I've known women to mess up because they felt they didn't have that need in their relationship, that fulfillment. But guess what? That was lack of communication on their part. So it can go either way. Now, the other story I have that I need to rush through, I don't want to rush through, but it is talk to your daughters and to your sons, but mainly talk to your daughters about what it's like to be in a good relationship. Now, I have another friend of a friend of a friend whose aunt's daughter, and we're going to call her Hilda, was loved, and she was in a family of 3 other sisters. She was the youngest, and she kind of got away with a little bit more because she was the youngest. Got to put makeup on, date earlier. And I kind of get that too by number four because I'm the fourth child. Probably got away with a little bit more too, but I kind of get this. Well, so, but I don't think Hilda, her parents were loving or are loving, and they love her just as much as they love daughter number one, daughter number two, daughter number three. They love Hilda just as much. But she started seeing a guy. Parents were really excited. The guy seems like this great guy, popular at school, very respectful to her parents. She meets his mom, and unfortunately, they date for about 6 months, I think it was. And one night, Hilda comes home and she is just bawling. She's so upset. Well, the parents think, oh, they had a little, you know, boy girlfriend fight because that happens. Well, she fessed up to the mom and dad and told them that I'm going to call him Sam. That Sam had been forcing himself upon her. Now, unfortunately, the other unfortunate thing is that his mother knew. She never saw it, but she knew what was going on and didn't do a damn thing about it. Shame on that mom. And the parents did get the law involved. All this time, they thought she was upset because they'd had a fight. No, it wasn't because of that. So I'm not sure what happened with the case. I know that they did take get a take them to court, but I'm not sure what happened. But I'm telling you, parents, talk to your girls, talk to your sons, and tell them how to treat a young lady and vice versa. Relationships are hard, and parents, if something should like this should happen, don't take it into your hands. Contact the authorities. Let it go through the court system, through the law. Do not give up on the law. Well, unfortunately, she went through a bout of depression, and she's doing better now, and we are so happy for her. But it is an eye opener because it exists out there. So if you are raising a child, young man, young woman, gay couples, a gay son or a gay daughter, let them know that they are worthy of being in a good, healthy relationship and to be kind. Well, thank you again. We're coming to an end, and this is Ticket to Life. And I would like to thank everyone for listening, and I hope that you have a great end of January and go find your blessings.